Hello, everyone. This is Tom with Handouts. I'm back again on my live stream tonight. Take two. I guess YouTube didn't like my take one. They cut me off. Talking about Rosie the Riveter. Boy, I should start over from scratch here. Maybe I will. We're going to discuss understanding the American mindset. Okay? Take two. Americans never give up. Ever. So I'll wait for some people to show up here. Yes, I am back. YouTube didn't like me there for a little bit. They were getting a little upset. Like I say, once I see the numbers going up, hey, I tell you what, I appreciate everybody coming back. Get some comments here. Anyway, yeah, my live stream got cut off. They didn't like what I had to say. So should I start all over again? This is in case people missed it. The mindset of America from when, every decent one of us was kicked out of our forefathers were kicked out of every European country, or we got out of there to escape their retarded bullshit. Oh, I tell you what. YouTube and its games. This is definitely not the American spirit. By the way, let me wait for a few people to come in. Maybe I can get a few moderators to come in, but this is so normal. I mean, trying to get the word out. We're a country where if you see bullshit, you're allowed to say, hey, that's bullshit. But I guess a lot of people like eating it because they don't like hearing about it. Anyway, if I don't get a lot of people, we'll just call this. I was doing good on that live stream. I was on a roll. A roll. I love it when I get on a roll. Bam, 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 bam. Talking about the beginning of the Americans, understanding the American spirit from when the first Europeans came over this country and built themselves. You know, they didn't have no hotel to come to, no EBT cards. No, they came to oh my God, there's a lot of trees there. At least we can get a house made and stuff, right? Like I say, the mindset where you'd sit there and get on a ship and cross an ocean back in the day where nobody really knew much of anything. Remember, they still think that sea monsters existed and stuff. To come somewhere where there's nothing. You know, that had to be hard on some people. But, obviously what they were living in, that's one thing about the American spirit. We want to live the way we want to live. We don't want to be told we got to accept another person's way they live, or, somebody's going to tell us how to sit there and succeed, or put restrictions on putting stop signs in front of us, or hoops we have to jump through so we can succeed. Well, there's a lot of that goes on these days, isn't there? Anyway, yeah, I was having a roll on my take one. I was having a roll, and YouTube cut me short. What, nobody can comment? Can I get a 5x5? Say, hey, I can hear you loud and clear. No? Anyway, that's the thing. Why I'm on YouTube? Why I'm on social media? Because the American mindset is slowly evaporating into entitlements. I mean, what did Benjamin Franklin say? When you trade your freedom for security, you deserve neither freedom or security. See, that's the mindset. JFK saying, it's not what you can do for your country. It's not what your country can do for you. It's what you can do for your country. The mindset where we stood up to a king, the most powerful nation in the world, and said, to hell with this. We want to be a free and independent people. We've lived like this for over 100 years. We governed ourselves. We don't need Big Brother on us no more. We were doing just fine until you came in and started pushing us around. Kind of like this country, the way we were made. Everything was going great until the government decided they need to be in every little aspect of our lives and then taking money from our paychecks. Anyway, but that spirit, okay, to stand up to tyranny and say, I've had enough of this. I'm not going to take it no more. Back then. And why were people like that? Because they were completely independent. The only thing they got from the government was a hard time. It's not like the government does what it does now. It gives half the population a hard time and the other half a handout. And then when somebody else gets in office, well, the other half that got the handouts kind of having a hard time like they are now. And the other half has it so-called good. Okay? Anyway, it's just crazy mindset. Americans, when we feel we've been wronged, we're going to right it. And it doesn't matter what it takes. The American, why it was so hard to corrupt the American back then is because he didn't need nothing from anybody. I mean, if you live a humble, simple life and are really happy with your life, how can you be tempted by anything? They can sit there, like me, throw money, drugs, women. I don't give a shit. Screw it. Get the hell away from me. So I can't be bought. That's one thing they don't want people happy. The mindset of this country. Back when the immigrants would come here in the 1800s and stuff. Do you think they came here from other countries thinking, well, now I got to compete. These white guys got an easier chance than I do, and this black guy, and this other races have it better. No, they knew they were all in the same boat together. You got this to this country, hey, you had just as much right to succeed as whatever guy, whatever color there was. Nobody was held down. That's one thing about the American spirit. Trying to divide us all the time. Lots of races and nationalities fought in our Civil War. I mean, our Revolutionary War. Lots of them. You know why? Because they were attracted by the fight to make men free. A free man fought to make himself and other men free. What did they do in Europe? You fought for the king, right? You weren't there fighting for your family. You were fighting for the king because the king knew what was best for your family. In our American Revolution, the men were fighting in the revolution because they knew what was best for their family. And the best thing right away was to get England the hell out of here. I mean, you had daughters, and I've read historical documents and stuff where the British were having court-martials all the time about women that were getting raped and then ones they didn't have. I mean, why do you think we got the Third Amendment about quartering soldiers? Imagine just a soldier knocking on your door. Hey, you got to feed me, wash my clothes, give me a bed, and it better have your daughter in it. Yeah, it's crazy time. I guess we're not quite there yet, right? We just have illegals sit there taking care of people's daughters. Sick ass shit. Or these. I'm not going to get into the E-list again. Like I say, YouTube, I can't believe I ain't got nobody in the chat. This is incredible. They're not even giving me a chat. So if you're putting comments, they're not letting me see them. Let me see if I can do something here. I tell you what. They do something else on this. Like I say, I'm trying to sit there and have a conversation about the world, our country and the world going to shit. And the first thing they got to do, like I say, on my other live stream, I was going to town. I was up to Rosie the Riveter, buddy. The Rosie the Riveter American spirit we had. Hell yeah, my husband's off at war, and I'm going to do it. My kids are at home, and the world's all gone to shit. Everything's being rationed. I can't have nothing. But I'm going to sit there And I'm going to make sure my husband, especially who's on the ground side, got all the support he can. The mindset where they all came together. Like I said, you think color mattered back then? Mattered more in the military and stuff. But anyway, this is the mindset that people don't understand. The mindset where we made you free, people. It's up to you to make a life now. The government's not going to be here to give you handouts. All right? It's not what the government was designed for. I mean, that's why our founding fathers are so against social programs. But they don't teach that stuff anymore. You know, they just don't teach it. Anyway, I tell you what, I appreciate everybody being here. You know, if you want to help support the channel, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and the bell notification. Help the channel grow because, like I say, this is my take 2. Wish you would have been there for my take 1. And I know somebody's got to be leaving comments, but YouTube won't even let me see the comments. Anyway, so if you guys are all enjoying yourself in the live chat, I appreciate it. So, you know, the game social media plays. You know, maybe if we could sit there and tell the truth, like, you know, it's what's on the E-list, the lists that don't exist. Anyway, there's so much about the American spirit. Like I say, one thing about the American spirit, we definitely weren't supposed to be ruled by the biggest criminals in the world doing the most dastardly deeds to our children, for sure. Stealing our money, creating military industrial complexes. I mean, our Congress, our government was not supposed to have a standing army. And we pretty much didn't. Unless we went to war. And then we downsized. Well, ever since World War II, we never really downsized. The military industrial complex came in, and that's just the way it was. You know, that we need to go back to the spirit of the Constitution. You know, no foreign entanglements. You know, they wanted to make George Washington king, right? And he said no. I mean, he didn't even want to run for a second term because he was ill health and he didn't want to die in office and become this so-called God where everybody idolized him. They knew, you know, if we could have a leader like George Washington again, well, he'd be killed. But he was a guy who didn't want to be idolized. Heck, do you think Trump would give up being king? Hey, Trump, you want to be emperor? Oh, hell yeah. Sounds good to me. Make America great again. Just make sure all these crooked ass son of a bitches can keep getting away with their shit. Anyway, I had a guy in my other live chat, a younger generation. You know, this is one thing about the American spirit too. I know a lot of younger kids have it, the younger generation. They want to be successful. They don't want to live at home with mommy and daddy, you know, ones that went to trade schools and stuff. But it's hard as shit for them to make them. Our money's worthless. All my kids have to work harder, longer hours. They make more money, and they have less at the end of the day than their mom and I did. I hate to see the younger generation struggle. You know, they sit there, oh, you boomers bought your first house for $20,000. Yeah. Well, maybe we should do something about it instead of saying, yeah, it used to be like that. I want them days to come back. And I'm willing to sacrifice so they come back. Instead of bitching about it. I'm tired of it. But like I say, there's one thing I'll say about that. Where I happen to live in the United States of America, you can buy a house for cheaper than you can buy a car, okay, in town. No shit. Anyway, but, you know, this is the most least populated area in the United States, so. But anyway. But yeah, I'm sick and tired of seeing our kids struggle. We are not leaving our kids in better shape. in the American mindset, where does it say that I'm going to borrow money from my unborn children so our generation can live in this life of luxury or this life we created? I mean, if we're never going to pay this debt back, then what's the big deal about debt? Everybody should be able to go themselves billions of dollars in debt. I mean, they want to sit there and say now in modern economics that debt is an asset. Well, why don't we just go, all of us just get as much debt as possible, then we got assets up the ass, huh? That's about the most retarded thinking I've ever heard. You know what? Debt is only an asset if somebody's paying on that debt. Okay, and it's still not an asset. It's a liability because it can cost you money at any time. You know, but I would love to see, you know, in kindergarten, when I was in kindergarten, we all know about George Washington and, you know, not the facts about the Revolutionary War, about crossing the Delaware and the little plays we would do and stuff. And nowadays you can ask a senior and ask them, because for 15 years I've asked and I still haven't got a right answer. Who do we win our independence from? And they'll sit there and say France. And I mean, it's crazy. Even my own kids got it wrong. And I said, what language do you speak? How are you supposed to continue the American mindset, the American spirit, if it's not taught in schools, it's not taught in home, instead of people looking down at people that are on the system, and that's the way it used to be, people were looked down on, you look at them as, oh, that's the way I want to live. I want to be able to live so I'm in Section 8 housing. I want to live so I'm on the government too. I'll never succeed in life and always be jealous of everybody, but hey, I don't have to do anything. You know, to succeed takes work. But, you know, this is one thing our founding fathers gave us. Freedom. The American mindset to push through any stop sign. To become as great as you can be. Achieve anything you want to achieve. And that failure comes with that. All inventors failed. The first failed. All the time. And they went back to the drawing board. And they learned from their failures and stuff. Just like America has learned from its failures. We abolished slavery. We learned from that failure. Boy, it'd be nice if we had learned about the failure of putting our ass into debt. You know, Ronald Reagan was the first president to go $1 trillion in debt. I believe it was October either 16th or 23rd of 1983. And oh my God, the country's collapsed. We can never pay it back. We can't even pay the interest on the debt. And that was just the door that opened it up. I mean, let's see, $37 trillion in debt more in 42 years. So $1 trillion of debt from 1718 to 1983, and then $37 more trillion in debt from 1983 to 2025. Now, how would your home life be if you lived like that? Well, you'd be divorced, that's for sure. Okay, this is one thing about Americans. We don't like our money being stolen from us. This is the whole thing about taxation with their representation, without representation. We consider taxation theft. Anyway, hey, if you want to help support the channel, please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Help the channel grow, because this is my take two. And I'm trying to get on a roll, but I was really on a roll on my last one. So if you're on the take two, check out the take one. Okay, they shut me down when I was talking about Rosie the Riveter. Oh, I know why. Maybe that empowered women too much. This is the American mindset. Like I say, the mindset when Kennedy said, "We made a goal for America. We'll put a man on the moon by the end of this decade." and everybody worked towards that goal. We had a purpose. Nowadays, what purpose does America have? You go to work so you can pay taxes because we need to have this war with Ukraine, and we need to support all this shit, and we need to sit there and have illegals come in this country because we need to give them amnesty because, we got people that won't pick tomatoes and stuff, working agriculture bullshit. These are the people I have to compete with. And don't worry, the lists don't exist. That's because Netanyahu has it in Israel. Times are tough. Say the American spirit, when this all comes crashing down, it ain't going to matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, an LGBTQA person or a heterosexual, it ain't going to matter. Black or white, Mexican or Oriental, it ain't going to matter. We're all fucked together. Like I say, the Titanic sinking, and the band stopped playing, and everybody's like, oh. And then the back of the stern, the ship's still in the air. And all of a sudden, the Republicans and Democrats look at each other and say, you know what? We're all on this sinking ship together. What's it going to take for people to realize that? Are we going to sit there and listen to distractions about redistricting in Texas? I'm sick of it. Just another way for them to screw the American people. It doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. Can you tell me that the Republicans are actually spending money on what you actually want? You don't think if the Democrats came up with their own Doge when they take power again, that they'll probably do it too. They'll come up with ridiculous ways Republicans spend money. And this is the one thing about Trump needs to realize. The no list shit, there is no list. If he's going to stick with that, the midterms, I guarantee you the House and the Senate will go to the Democrats. Guaranteed. Because Republicans ain't going to come out and freaking vote. Okay? And all the independents that voted for Trump are going to vote Democrat. Okay? And I'm a constitutional conservative, so I don't like either goddamn party. And then they're going to win the presidency in 3.5 years. That's just the way it is, folks. Because nobody's going to stand for Trump to sit there and campaign on one thing. And this is the thing of the E-list. I'm going to get on this again. Let's see, Epstein got arrested in 2019. So that means Trump had all the evidence for 1.5 years. Well, he was still president the first time, right? And then he campaigns on it because he obviously knows what the evidence is. And then it doesn't exist. And then all of us were played by the Democrats. And I just don't quite know where to go with some of this stuff. But like I say, the American spirit, when he got shot, the American mindset was behind him. But, this is beyond ridiculous. And then people tell me, like being a Marine, I'm supposed to settle down. I'm supposed to calm down. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, all the stuff that I saw overseas and dealt with overseas is now happening in our country, and I'm supposed to settle down? That's like me going overseas and my sergeant, hey, let's get on the choppers. But you just settle down there, Lance Corporal Peterson. You just settle down. Don't get so excited when the chopper lands. It's beyond stupid. It's beyond stupid. I tell you what, I sure wish I could read the chat. They won't even let me read the chat. I don't got one comment in front of me. So anyway, at least I don't have to. If you trolls are here, have a good time. Go to make my analytics in my channel look great. I tell you what. Like I say, you want us to speak some truth, you can't. They don't allow you to do it. But I tell you what, you want to hear the truth? Hit that thumbs up, that subscribe, and the bell notification. Help support this channel. I'm not afraid to say it. If this Marine in this country has to be afraid of what he says because the ATF and FBI or some law enforcement agency may show up at my goddamn door, it just proves I'm right. At least since Trump's gotten elected, there hasn't been no 6 a.m. no-knock raids by the ATF or the FBI that's killed people like there was with Biden. And nobody's held responsible. Nobody's held responsible. This is, like I say, the America that exists. I mean, I watch videos. I live out here in a county that has less than 2,000 people in it. A county that has less than 2,000 people in it. I don't have to lock my doors even if I leave for 2 weeks at a time. I can leave the keys in my vehicle, okay? Out here in the country, okay? You got a stranger around here, everybody knows about it. I still live in America that used to exist. If you watch a lot of my shorts, like us today, playing poker with some buddies, nickel, dime, quarter poker, just, fun time, playing poker, enjoying ourselves. And I'm telling these guys, I say, you guys don't realize how lucky we are to live where we live. Well, we don't have to worry about a lot of the crazy shit you see. I mean, TikTok, oh my God. There's some people that are mentally ill that are on the streets. They're a danger to themselves and other people. And how can that even be functioning as a human being? I mean, what I see on TikTok is just unreal. And then you got China seeing all this stuff. I can't even imagine the people that are watching the downloads to TikTok from China. I mean, you got US just spying on itself like crazy. I mean, get this. Okay, China knows where you live. Oh, you live next to a military base. Oh, you like taking TikTok videos when you're driving and stuff. Scanning all sorts. Oh, you like taking TikTok videos of military vehicles driving on the road and stuff. All this information they're getting. All this information. We used to have a saying when I was in, loose lips sink ships. Anyway. But YouTube, all these social media platforms. I mean, another thing about the American spirit, the American mindset, is the town square. Small town square saw lots of movies. The small town, the town square, the park where they had the gazebo, where the band would play, right? Where they'd have town picnics, and politicians, no matter what side you were on, could get out there and speak. And everybody was allowed to hear. Everybody's allowed to speak. You know what that town square is like now? Well, the people that they agree with got a megaphone, right? And people that they don't agree with, like me, I'm in a soundproof booth that's painted black. Well, no, I'll just say a soundproof booth. And I'm screaming my head off, and everybody's like, we can't hear them. And they get disinterested. They go to that distraction. But that's what it's like now. I'm in a soundproof booth. Is that the American spirit? Are we so soft in America? I'm not, I'm comfortable with the way I live. I'm comfortable that I'm a good person. I don't need reassurance of that. So I can listen to somebody that's critiquing me, insulting me, cutting me up, whatever. And it doesn't bother me, okay? It doesn't bother me. That's just one person's opinion about me. That's it. Hey, I see I've got a few people here. I appreciate if you hit that thumbs up, the subscribe button, and the bell notification. Help this channel grow. Because I'm hitting YouTube hard tonight, like I say. After my first live stream, this is like I'm running for 1 hour and 15 minutes. We'll see if I can go another 4 to 5 minutes talking about understanding the true American. Okay, and then you sit there and throw a Marine on an American United States Marine onto that, and that's just whoo, that's way, way different. Like I say, people tell me to relax all the time. Oh, just settle down. Okay, like I say, I'm on the chopper. My sergeants tell me, just settle down. Don't be too excited. Don't get too mad at these guys that you got to deal with. I'm not going to settle down. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, you're an American. And you're getting screwed over by the American government. And if you're too stupid to see it, I'll still protect you. I'll still fulfill my oath. Because your kids need to learn to be free too. You know, like you say, I got a grandson that goes to school with a litter box in his room because he's got two kids in there that think they're furries. That's mental illness, people. Like I was telling you, the mental illness you see on the streets, that's what happens when these people don't get help. They're going to be living in a cardboard box in an alley with a litter box in the corner. Crazy times, absolute crazy times. But, you know, can you imagine what it was like to sit there and cross the prairie? What are you going to do this summer? Oh, I'm going to take the family. We're going to get in a covered wagon, get to St. Louis, get in a covered wagon, and then we're going to go across the prairie, the high desert, in the mountains and stuff to get to California. Okay, yep. You know, what was it? There's a plaque down there by the North Platte River. I can't remember said for every mile that the trail is, the wagon trail, is like there's 20 dead for every mile. I mean, when I was out at the ranch, Pathfinder Ranch in Wyoming, where the Oregon Trail went through, and stuff, so it's a high desert, and stuff petrifies there. And, you know, they all had covered wagons and stuff still from the migration that it just petrified. You know, not all intact, but in pieces and stuff. And we ran cows along Independence Rock and stuff. So that's that area. But the mindset it took, where you weren't, hey, you know, it ain't bad here in the East, but I know I can take a little risk, take a chance, and I may fail. But you know what? I'll have a whole lot better life if I take this risk. You know, some of them took ship and sailed across the Cape, across at the bottom of South America and stuff. It was faster, but still, they're taking a chance there. Roughest waters in the whole world is going around the Cape in South America, going around the southern tip of South America. That is some treacherous water, especially back then. So nothing was really safe. But they're willing to take that chance. Okay? The mindset of, hey, I'm willing to sit there and sacrifice and endure whatever it takes. Because after enduring for 6 months to a year or maybe 2 years, everything will be better, easier. I will have succeeded. They had a plan. And of course, not everybody succeeds. But, you know, if you're going to the gold fields praying you're going to get rich, I'd maybe have a backup plan. Okay. You know who got rich from the gold rush? People selling stuff to the miners. That's who the true miners were. Anyway, they never did find the mother lode for the 1849 gold rush yet. Anybody know that? And that was when California was having those floods a few years ago, and people were finding gold nuggets on their property and stuff. Yeah, they haven't. Well, they say they haven't found the mother lode for that yet. So I would say there's some mountaintop out there that if somebody goes in the right cave, you're going to find nothing but one giant wall of gold. Wouldn't that be something to see? Anyway, what would happen in today's world if you found something like that? How would you be able to sell it without being able to tell people where it came from and stuff? I'm sorry, I can't see the chat, so I'm just asking questions. How would that work? I mean, I suppose you can melt it down in the bars, but there's got to be a paper trail of gold now, just like everything else, right? Anyway, that'd be crazy. So you could sit there and find the gold mine. Like one thing I like to do, I was watching shows on the Lost Dutchman mine out there in the superstitious mountains of Arizona. Looking for that. But let's say if you find it, are you even able to spend it, or you just, hey, I found this, and and then the government just comes in and swoops it, and you get recognition for that you found it, but you don't get nothing else. It's better just to keep it hid. Anyway, but the American spirit, that's another thing. Okay. The American spirit has pushed men to sweat, to sacrifice, to freeze in the cold, just to live an existence that no other man would, just to succeed. They had the right mindset. And that's what we're losing. Hard times create strong men. Easy times create weak men. And we have had too much easy time. Way too much easy time. And you want something, you're supposed to be able to get it. And people that can't get what they want, my God, don't they throw a fit? I mean, I remember when I was growing up, and yeah, I was working summer jobs, plus doing chores at home, but to make my own money, because my parents even told me when I was young, you want a candy bar? Make your own money. And I'm at 10 years old making money, making what, $1.50 an hour? Walking bean fields, pulling weeds? Something you couldn't even get an illegal to do anymore these days? Things were different back then. Things were way different. We were tougher. And that's the thing. And when you're independent and you're tough and you don't rely on anybody, and the only person you can rely on is yourself, not even the government, all these people that rely on the government, how does that work when you really need them? Like when your house got washed down the river and they give you a $750 check. No, $750 loan that you got to pay interest on. This is why the government, I believe we should help natural disasters. Okay, but I don't believe we should be handing out money. We shouldn't have a Health and Human Services Department. All that does is take away people. All it does is clip their wings. See, when a bird is forced, when it gets old enough and is forced to leave the nest, and it's got to fly around and learn to fly, it's forced to. It's either going to make it or it's not going to make it, okay? Nobody's going to be there to help it. Now, human beings, we can help. We need to where family helps people out. Not the government. The government's not making anything fair. The government's taken from me and given to somebody that doesn't want to do it, make it on their own. That's called socialism. When somebody like me is forced to give to somebody that refuses to do what I'm forced to do, because they're looked at as a victim or the right side of the political spectrum or whatever the case may be. But, that is not the American spirit. No American, when they came across on ships and stuff, ever sat there and said, oh, what kind of government handouts do I get before I get my covered wagon and get, what they were getting? A lot of them, free land. Free land. 160 acres. Yeah, they had to make improvement, homestead and stuff. But they had travel. They paid for that free land, believe me. Hardship. Okay, but they weren't, oh, can you help me get out there? I mean, the government's saying, you got free land. It's up to you to get it. We're not helping you. Nowadays, they sit there, hey, we're going to help you out there, give you a ticket. We'll make sure there's a house set up for you. The whole works. A car in the driveway. This is why people, when they sat there and created that stuff, something from nothing, came out to where you had 160 acres and nothing, and you created a farm, a house, a place for your family to grow. They left it on to your sons or whatever. Anyway, just the American spirit is gone. And it's really sad to see people, they don't realize their true potential because they're too occupied with, I mean, all you see on YouTube. I don't watch regular TV. I'm sure it's the same way. But all these commercials on how the government has this, especially people my age, the government has a program that if I apply for it, I could get money every month. Cheapers Crutch with all these programs, I could make about $10,000 a month. Really? That's got to be a scam. Our country's broke. Okay? And it's telling, I mean, I was in Camp Lejeune during that water contamination garbage. Okay? It did the opposite for me. It made me faster and stronger and healthier. It didn't make me sicker. But yeah, it was another thing I could have sat there and played the victim about stuff. Everybody remembers that Camp Lejeune thing. Jeepers Creepers had that commercial on everything all the damn time. Anyway, I feel I got out of the military with my life. I don't need nothing else. All I need them is to do is to make sure they protect my pursuit of happiness, that I have no government interference or no other foreign government interference. Anyway, the American mindset, like George Washington, that he wanted to make him king. He said no. He didn't even want to run for a second term because he was starting to ail and he didn't want to die in office and become some god everybody looked up to. He's very conscious of how he was going to look at through history and not like a godlike figure, just a man who did his job for other people to be free and wanted to return to he had Mount Vernon, but he still lived a simple, humble life. Okay? And that the culture back then was a culture back then. That's just the way it was, okay? And some people didn't mind being poor. I don't mind being poor and humble. I love that life. I've had the money life. Screw that. It's not for me. I don't be like being looked at by how much money can be made off me. That's bullshit. That's not what I'm put on this earth for. Anyway, I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I got to go. Ever since my last live stream, I've been talking for an hour and a half, and my throat's getting a little sore. Yeah, it's just, I'm sick of this shadow banning and shit from YouTube. I'm on YouTube. People go, why are you on YouTube? Because I'm not going to go to a platform where I'm an echo chamber. I want to talk to people that don't think they're slaves, think I'm their enemy, and doesn't realize that we're all on the Titanic together, so I can sit there and convince them, hey, we're all on the sinking ship together. Maybe it's time we do something to end this shit. Maybe it's time to make it better for our kids and grandkids. Maybe it's time for us to sacrifice so our children, we can leave a better world for our children than they're going to inherit from us, okay? Anyway, crazy times. But we need to bring back the American spirit. We became the mightiest mightiest country the world had ever known. And the reason we are falling just like Rome, following the same path Rome is, doing the same stupid mistakes Rome did, is because Rome, until us, Rome was the only other empire that was like that. It wasn't England. Well, nobody else. Rome was the mightiest. Okay, England was a powerful country, but never the mighty like Rome was or like we were. Okay, and we're just pissing our country. I mean, look, the corruption. You go to the sick, sadistic stuff they used to do to children in Rome. The LGBTQA retarded shit that was allowed in Rome. The morals just went to shit. That was the thing. Rome built itself up from nothing. and became the mightiest country at the time the world had ever known. And then they collapsed from within from corruption, greed, endless wars, ruining their currency, all that shit. I mean, today, honestly, I wish I could read the chats, but in today's world, if they would bring back the gladiators instead of MMA, it was a fight till the death, you would have people cheering that shit on. As long as they don't have to be in there. And yes, and I believe that's how far we have fallen, or as far as we will fall. When that starts happening, you know we're really screwed. Then they're really throwing the bread and circus out at us. I don't even know how you would deal with something like that if we became so animalistic like that. But then look on the street. Look at what happened in Cincinnati. The beatdown those white, especially that white woman took, because she was white. Put them in a ring where it's allowed, where anything goes, she's dead. And they'll do it with a smile on their face. Where the fuck has this country gone? Remember September 12, 2001? It didn't matter what your color was, what your nationality was, what your political affiliation was, what you did in your bedroom. It didn't frickin' matter. We were all Americans. And less than 24 years later, we all want to shoot each other. We're all divided over. Now we're divided over if you believe there was a list or not. This is the world we live in. Hey, if you like the content, please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Help this channel grow. I don't sell anything. I don't take donations or nothing. I'm about getting the truth out and getting everybody, Americans, woke the hell up. Because we're hearing enough from everybody on the mainstream media and these other channels that are afraid to say anything. You know, I'm not big like Alex Jones, so they're not going to shut me down. And the nice thing about my content, you get to watch it. You don't have to watch commercials. Because YouTube is good. Jeff Bezos is going to make sure that he never has to write me a check. That's okay. I got a good job anyway. But like I say, I got a good job. I could sit there. But my American mindset, my American spirit, and my Marine Corps mindset, I care about my American citizen. And I'm not just going to become a selfish person, go out there and do my own thing and live in the bubble and pretend that everybody's life is just like mine. It's sad in this country when I got to feel guilty about living the American dream and being happy and being content. Why should a person have to feel bad about that? It's what we all strive for from when we were a kid. Now it's like, it's not right that you succeeded. You get punished for success. That's another reason why I'm not a big fan of money anymore. Any middle class people there are sick of being punished for making money? God damn, do they steal from your ass. And then you sit there and have your telephone never stops ringing from people that want donations and contributions. I finally sit there and say, I pay a fortune in taxes every month. Go call my congressman and tell him you need more of my goddamn money. And they keep taking more. All this tax cuts. Here, we're going to sit there and tax it. This is my thing on taxes. You go to a straight 10% federal sales tax. Get rid of the IRS completely. Your pay is between you and your boss. Every dime you make, you get. He no longer has to deal with the IRS. So they can eliminate all that cost that their company has dealing with the IRS. That means for sure they can give you a 10 to 15% raise overnight. So you get all your paycheck you had before, plus you got a 10 or 15% raise, and all there is a 10% federal sales tax. You can easily pay that. The thing is, one thing for that to work, What is that one thing we got to do? Oh, yeah, like every household, we have to force our government to live within the budget. Maybe we need to put some housewives that sit at the table, every time, a couple days a month, and just wring their hands, wondering how they're going to make it every day through the month. Why should the government have whatever they want and the American people have to pick and choose what they can afford? Since when? Okay? Since when did my pursuit of happiness become being a cog in the government's pursuit of happiness? When the hell did that happen? I don't remember relinquishing my pursuit of happiness. But as long as they got enough Americans fooled, we got protests going on by Americans standing up for people breaking the law, saying that the law shouldn't be enforced on them. It's a bad thing. They come from a bad country. Well, go back to your country and do what this country did. Have a revolution against the bad guys, kick them the fuck out, have your, Venezuelan fucking mindset or whatever, and become competition in the United States so the United States can figure out how to become a great country again. You come from a shithole, so the first thing you want to do is come into this country illegally, break the law, and then change our country into your shithole. It's just because you could have more money to change our country into your shithole. And I can say that. I've been to third world countries before, and they're shitholes compared to the United States of America. That's just the way it is. But why is that? Why is that? Because of the American spirit that made this country the way it is. The American mindset. The toughness. That's what made this country the way it is. So if these people that are coming here, if they go to their country and have the same mindset, they could turn their country around. Americans made America great. Okay? Immigrants that came here and wanted to be Americans made America great. Okay? Because they wanted to make America great. Because they were tired of the shithole they came from. They were escaping their shithole. And they hated it so much and wanted to be free so much that the American, everybody wanted to be an American. The American culture, the American mindset, that was it. Now we got the people coming across, they got the American handout. And then all this USEF money that got canceled, and they're saying all these people, millions of people that died around the world because of it. Oh, so you're telling me the American taxpayer is responsible for everybody around the world now? Because we may be able to have two vehicles? Because we worked our asses off? Just because we created the mightiest country and became the smartest people, and we were blessed by it, blessed by your hard work. No, you reap what you sow. And we reaped a great crop because we sowed. And we worked and we sweated and took care of that crop. And through the years, made it grow with inventions and making our children better and stuff. Right? The American spirit. That's what made this country great. And it wasn't, let's protect the kids so they don't have to deal with kid problems. We don't want to upset them too much. Jeepers cripes. Anybody my age knows. We don't care how you feel. We don't care what your feelings are. You're going to hear the truth. Get out there and get it done, or you'll get your ass whipped, and you'll still have to do it. Your ass is grass. Remember them days? I'm glad I grew up like that. It's made my adult years a lot easier. Okay. When you realize you're not a victim, the only victim people are is a victim to themselves. Okay. You can do anything in this world. If you're a handicap, it don't matter. I mean, look at the smartest guy in the world. He was in a wheelchair, couldn't even talk. And everybody still looked at him as the smartest guy in the world. Because you know what? He didn't portray himself as a freaking victim. That's one thing in this country. The American mindset has turned into a victim's mentality, an entitlement mentality. It's amazing. The people that all pay into social services hate it. And the people that all get money from it love it. Well, maybe we should put more money people working, and they'd realize, oh my God, I got more money. I'm happier. My life is better. I can actually go to the store, to Dairy Queen, and get a chocolate shake. My kids have toys and stuff, and my life is going better. Man, all I had to do was go to work 40 hours a week to achieve that. All the opportunity in this country. I mean, I realize the government's trying hard to take it away, manufacturing and stuff like that, draining all this money they're sending to these wars and stuff. Imagine if we could put that back into our own country. No. You know how we put that back into our own country? We stop taking the tax dollars from it, put it back into the American taxpayer's pocket, and let them determine how it's going to be spent. The true capitalist system, capitalism is based on what the American think the product is worth, not the government. Anyway, hey, I got to get off here, guys. Like I say, I ran 40 minutes on my other live stream before they shut it off. But I sure appreciate everybody being here. Like I say, if you want to support the channel, please hit that thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. I need everything I can to help get the word out. I'm not afraid to say shit on YouTube. This is a Marine that's had enough. I've seen enough. I've heard enough stupid shit. Okay? And, I'm not listening to it no more. And it's time we all get together and do something. It's time us vets realize what our oath is. And, if somebody needs to do it. Like I say, during this hour-and-a-half live stream, how many kids around the world were grabbed, thrown into vans, and get processed to sold into sex slavery and stuff? How many? More than one, I'm sure, right? But don't worry, there's no list. What a bunch of shit. Like I say, Trump just put the Democrats in power for a while, let's just say, until the Republicans get the taste out of their mouth after this election. Anyway, but maybe this is the plan all along. I don't know, okay? I don't know. But anyway, thanks to everybody for being here. And tomorrow night I'll be live, do my live stream again. And hopefully YouTube will let it go all the way through. But hey, this was a successful one too. I appreciate everybody being here. This is Tom with Hidden Truths. I'm out of here.